Welcome back to Building Character, where we figure out how to play as your favorite fictional characters in Dungeons & Dragons. Join the Patreon to vote for Sokka or Iroh from The Last Airbender, and like and subscribe for more noodles next time you play. Maybe. Today we're building Po from Kung Fu Panda, a panda that does Kung Fu. Oh, that's why they named the movie that! I've been wondering for years and just figured it out. Now I need to figure out how they came up with the name for B movie.
Everybody was Kung Fu fighting.
Let's start off with our goals for this build. First, Po is virtually immune to damage, so we'll make him a big bear. Most bears are big, but you need to be extra large and in charge. Next, we need the Wuxi fingerhold, banishing people to the Shadow Realm with the power word skadoosh. Finally, you are a Kung Fu Panda. Maybe we should get a little Kung Fu. Also everybody, I'm not using my homebrew on this, but if you wanted to see my homebrew Kung Fu Panda class, hey, there's the link. It's in the top right corner. Hooray! Hi everyone, holidays are coming up, and you know what would make the perfect gift for anyone who wears shoes? Shoes from today's sponsor, Vessi. Vessi makes shoes that are 100% waterproof, not water resistant. So trudging through the snow and slush is not a worry, your socks will stay dry. Check this out. Paper towel goes into the shoe. Shoe goes under the faucet. Paper towel comes out completely dry, so it's not wasted. And speaking of avoiding waste, Vessi uses a special knitting technique that cuts down on waste. They also don't use any animal byproducts, which means that these shoes are 100% vegan. Do not try to eat them though, they work much better as shoes. Vessis are also super comfortable because they're made of Dymatex, which is some magical thing that keeps them cool in the summer and warm in the winter. Wear them walking around town, shopping for groceries, doing laundry. I literally wear mine every day. Click the link in the description, that's vessi.com/barbrarian. There is an extra R, Barbrarian. Make sure you spell that right to get $25 off on each pair of Vessi sneakers. Now back to the video. For stats, we're going to be using the standard point array from the player's handbook. Roll for stats if you want, just keep your multi-classing minimums in mind. Wisdom will be number 1. Cooking is easier when you can taste your food, and tasting is perception. You taste really good. Sorry, you taste well. Constitution next. Your main strategy to learn fighting is getting hit and slowly figuring it out when you don't take damage. Dexterity after that. Bottom line, you guys need a chubby, agile guy. Did anyone else see Paul Blart Mall Cop? Paul Blart Mall Cop! You're like that. You're fat and you're physical. Follow that up with intelligence. You're pretty good with your Furious 5 history, though it does tend to skew into fan fiction occasionally. Strength is a bit low. You're good at jumping, but we'll be able to get that other ways, and we'll dump charisma. You're kind of a fanboy. It's adorkable, but adorkability is actually an inverse charisma stat. Go low to high, if that makes sense. We've used bugbear for bears before, like Banjo, but that was before custom lineage. Is Po sneaky? No. Does he have long limbs? No. Does he have dark vision? No. So is he a bugbear? No. We'll grab the chef feat for +1 wisdom. You can give a number of creatures equal to 4 plus your proficiency bonus, an extra d8 of healing on short rests. Just whip up some tasty noodles. And you can make little noodle packets on a long rest that give your allies extra temporary HP equal to your proficiency bonus. It's effectively D&D carbo loading, or just fighting better because your belly is full of the love of your friends. Bump your constitution with your 2 free points, take history for your skill of choice, and the athlete background for athletics and acrobatics. I kinda wish we could grab these later. You don't actually start off all that quick and nimble when you need to be, but then we need 2 other skills. We'd have to grab the skilled feat later. It would just be a whole thing. Just like it would be a whole thing if we didn't start off as a monk, because we're starting as a druid instead. Po is such an asset to the Furious 5, not because he fights like they do, but because he specifically doesn't. So that's why we're starting with an unconventional Kung Fu class, and because it gives us 2 skills from the druid list, like perception and survival, to taste your food and adjust the salt levels. Noodles should be pretty salty. You can always toss a root vegetable in there if you need to balance it out. What if I just talked about noodles for the whole episode? Would y'all watch that? I know y'all would watch me talk about cantrips like guidance and resistance, letting you give yourself or an ally an extra d4 for an ability check or saving throw respectively. Guidance is great for when you start sharing techniques with your teammates. Resistance is great for when bad guys shoot you with cannons. For your first level spells, Jump and Long Strider give you the mobility of your buddy Monkey, tripling your jump distance and adding 10 feet to your movement speed, neither of which require concentration, which is going to be more important when we grab concentration spells. Purify Food and Drink lets you make all food and water in a 5-foot radius potable and edible. I think you could eat a 5-foot radius worth of food. I believe in you. Second level druids can choose a circle, and when we go Circle of the Moon, we just explain Wild Shape at the same time as the Circle of the Moon abilities, just to kind of make everything faster. Otherwise I would be like, here's what Wild Shape does. No, it doesn't. It does the Circle of the Moon stuff. So that's what we're doing. This lets you turn into a beast of challenge rating 1 or lower as a bonus action using the beast's physical stats and keeping your soft stats. You also get the beast's HP. When you run out of HP in the beast form, you go back to your regular custom lineage panda form with an amount of HP you had before you transformed. Since there aren't pandas in 5e, I'm going to recommend you turn into a brown bear and give yourself 34 temporary HP twice a day. You can't cast spells when you're in bear mode, but you can maintain concentration on spells you do cast, which will matter more later, and you can spend spell slots to heal 1d8 per slot as a bonus action, so you can be even more of a bulky bear. Third level druids can learn second level spells. Protection from poison removes an effect of poisoning, gives a creature resistance to poison damage and advantage on poison saving throws for an hour. Now you don't have to waste multiple first level slots on purify food and drink, and you can just run through some sketchy buffet eating everything you see. Sometimes the tastiest food is the food that poisons you. Enhance ability lets you give a creature advantage on ability checks of a certain type. If you choose strength, they also double their carrying capacity. If you choose dexterity, they don't take falling damage from heights of 20 feet or less. And if you choose constitution, they get 2d6 temporary HP. I think more temporary HP on you would be very in character and make you even more annoying to take down. Sounds fun. Whatever you choose, it lasts for an hour depending on your concentration. Fourth level druids get an ability score improvement or a feat. I think we'll kick things off with the tough feat, giving you 2 HP for every level you have and every level you get. That's plus 5 HP per level before you've even rolled your hit die, not to mention wild shape, and healing the wild shape for even more bulk. Fifth level druids can learn third level spells. Protection from energy gives a creature resistance to acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder damage for an hour depending on your concentration. You can bring this into your wild shape for a fireproof bear. Maybe there's some peacock who's committing bear genocide with gunpowder. That seems kind of dark for this kind of character. Sixth level moon druids get to wild shape into beasts of challenge rating 2 or lower, so now you can be a polar bear, which has a little more HP, deals a little more damage, but doesn't resist cold damage. Really? In my games it does. That's ridiculous. You also get primal strikes, letting you throw your ki into your attacks as a bear, making them magical in terms of overcoming resistances, you know, in case someone uses stone skin. You know stone skin, right? It's a 4th level spell. Like if you were a 7th level druid, you could learn a 4th level spell like stone skin to get resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage for an hour depending on your concentration. That would make all the physical hits bounce off your belly like springy noodle dough. It's that stone skin. That's the stone skin I was talking about. If you don't want anyone slowing you down, grab freedom of movement to ignore any effects that would slow you down. You can't be paralyzed or restrained. You can ignore difficult terrain and even break out of non-magical shackles with 5 feet of movement. Pandas don't do well in enclosures. I don't know if that's true. I just know that most animals don't do well in enclosures. Zoos are such a great way to get a kid into animals so they can grow up to hate zoos. 8th level druids get another ability score improvement. Keep working on your wisdom since you'll get to bring it into your wild shapes. It's important for the whooshy fingerhold later. 9th level druids can learn 5th level spells, and I'm gonna be honest, there aren't really I would grab to be in character. Maybe greater restoration. It can remove an effect of exhaustion, a curse, charming, petrification, or reduction to ability score or HP. Though to be honest, I think most of your slots should be used to keep you in panda form, and by panda, I mean polar bear. It's a little confusing, but I believe in you. 10th level moon druids get another sort of out of character thing with elemental wild shape, letting you spend both of your wild shapes to turn into an elemental. Why are we going so deep into a class that isn't giving us what we need? Phil, you are terrible at this. Thank you, you hurt my feelings. Did you want to hurt my feelings? That's what you did. 11th level druids are great at healing hurt feelings with the heal spell, restoring 70 HP to a creature automatically. So if it looks like you're losing the fight, you can just reset your real HP up high, not the 42 temporary HP you get twice a day from being a polar panda. Druids are hard to kill. Did you know that? 12th level druids get another ability score improvement, so you can cap off your wisdom modifier for the maximum saving throw against your ultimate technique that you can get at the 13th level of druid or the 7th level spell plane shift. That lets you and up to 8 buddies go to another plane, or you can use it to banish a creature with a melee spell attack followed by a charisma saving throw from them. The reason I'm going with this instead of the 4th level spell banishment is because banishment only sends spirits back to the spirit plane. The whooshy fingerhold specifically does not do that. You can only banish a spirit warrior to the spirit plane by giving them a hug, melee attack, and whooshying yourself, which you don't go with them in that version, but it's a high level technique. We need high level stuff for it. It's also not power word kill because it doesn't kill people. It just sends them to the spirit plane, which is kind of death in the Kung Fu Panda universe. It's plane shift. Plane shift is the way to do it. This is supposed to be a comedy though. Anyway, now we need to get funny. And I think it would be funny if we jumped over to Monk, giving you martial arts to deal 1d4 with your unarmed attacks and make unarmed attacks as a bonus action after you make the attack action. You can use your dexterity for those attacks, but you don't have to. So if you're a polar bear with a +5 strength score, you can make unarmed attacks that use your strength score. I don't know why you would since you're multi-attack is better, but you can. You also get unarmored defense, making your AC 10 plus your dexterity and wisdom modifier when you're not wearing armor, so instead of the standard 12 AC of a polar bear, you'd have 15. Unarmored defense and martial arts work with wild shapes. Google it. I didn't forget to mention it. It's literally how the game works. I can't make every video an hour long preemptively correcting all the incorrect corrections people will have for me. Just Google stuff. Think I got it wrong? Generally don't. I've been doing this for a while. Second level monks get key points they can use to do cool panda stuff, like Step of the Wind to dash or disengage with your bonus action, and double your jump distance or sextuple your jump distance with 120 feet of horizontal leap as a polar bear, or 48 feet vertically, though you do need the movement speed to clear those distances. Patient defense lets you dodge as a bonus action to prevent a little more damage from getting to you before you even have to do the math with your HP. That's the real reason to avoid taking damage. Math is hard. Flurry of blows lets you make 2 unarmed attacks instead of 1 with your bonus action, almost bringing it up to the damage of the polar bear's multi-attack. Still not really though. You don't need to spend key points to use unarmored movement, which lets you move faster when you're not wearing armor, and that also applies to your wild shapes. Bears are already faster. Long Strider would make you faster. Then this makes you faster. You'll be like Banjo in Diddy Kong Racing, the absolute fastest character. Third level monks get deflect missiles, letting you reduce damage from ranged attacks by 1d10 plus your dexterity modifier and monk level, and if you drop it all the way to 0, you can even belly bounce it back with a key point. You can also choose a monastic tradition. Drunken monks get the drunken technique, letting you disengage for free with extra movement speed after you use a flurry of blows, so now you have a reason to use unarmed attacks instead of multi-attack to be a big speedy bear. You also get the performance skill for free, which is fair. Jack Black can't play a character that doesn't start scatting at some point. Fourth level monks get slow fall, letting you reduce falling damage by 5 times your monk level as a reaction, cushioning your fall with some extra cushioning. You also get an ability score improvement. Let's grab the resilient feat for dexterity, giving you proficiency with the saving throw and raising the score by 1. You'll still be a bear most of the time to not use this, but it will bring your saving throw proficiencies into the wild shape, so this is a bear with +6 to its dexterity save by the end of things. Fifth level monks get an extra attack, letting you make 2 attacks instead of 1 with your action. This doesn't mean multiple multi-attacks as a polar bear. Multi-attack and extra attack are different things, though if you decide you want to use unarmed attacks instead of bites and claws in bear form, you can use this. You also get stunning strike, letting you spend a key point to force a constitution saving throw on a creature you hit with a weapon attack. Failing that, they're stunned until the end of your next turn, letting the Furious 5 get all of their attacks with advantage. That's the power of friendship, probably the best power in all of Kung Fu. Sixth level monks get key empowered strikes, letting you make your unarmed attacks magical in terms of overcoming resistances even when you're not in the bear form, though it's probably best for you to be a bear. That's the point of getting the bear shapes. You also get tipsy sway to stand up from prone with 5 feet of movement instead of half, and you can redirect an attack to make a melee attack that misses you hit another creature instead after you spend a key point. Almost like all of your key points are spent on things involving your belly. Obviously, Uncle Iroh was right. Ki is stored in the belly. It's why Poe is the dragon warrior. He has the most ki. Our capstone is the 7th level of monk for evasion, letting you take half damage on failed dexterity saves and no damage on successful ones. Very useful to avoid cannon fire, and exactly why I took resilience earlier. That, and because we had an odd number, so we only needed +1 to a stat anyway. Your final ability is Stillness of Mind to remove an effect of charming or frightening as an action. There's no time to be afraid. You gotta wrap things up quickly if you're gonna get to that victory dinner. Now that we've hit level 20, let's figure out how viable this build is. First, you will take forever to kill with likely over 200 HP, stone skin, 2 wild shapes per day to just give yourself 42 temporary HP that you can heal as a bonus action. You also can just kick people out of the fight with your capped off saving throw on plane shift, just skadooshing people to the other side. Finally, you're dealing consistent damage and not having to worry about physical resistances with ki flowing through all of your attacks. For weaknesses, you don't have a lot of ability scores, meaning your dexterity is only +2 on a monk. Yikes. You're also lacking charisma, and unlike strength, that doesn't get better when you turn into a bear. And a more different or more berry bear, of course. Finally, the chef feat just doesn't scale super well, so you might want to consider using that for just about anything else. Unless you wanted to make your friends some delicious food and make delicious food for yourself, eat up all the damage, and defeat people in a way that works best for you. You don't need a special ingredient because you're already special. Just watch out for enemies with higher charisma, or they could end up shending you to the spirit plane early. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, subscribe for more. We make 2 videos every week. Join the Patreon to vote for Sokka or Iroh from The Last Airbender, and sub to Tulok and Mango for more Tulok fun.